I have totally failed to keep my remarks to 140 characters. I'm sorry. But they are definitely less than 140 minutes, and we're going to have lots of time for questions afterwards. When so much attention is given to conflict and violent acts that enrage and appall us, it's sometimes hard to find the time to reflect on the causes of these conflicts and talk about the future with hope and with optimism. Positivity is sometimes less forthcoming than anger. Add to this the pace of technological change, and it's sometimes easy to think that technology is, in and of itself, both the cause and the solution to a whole range of issues, when in reality it's part of a much wider landscape. And while technology may have changed the way that we communicate, the issues that face us all, from individual countries to common causes of our own communities, are not necessarily issues that did not exist before widespread internet access and before social media. Indeed, as I'll come on to, in many ways technology has created new opportunities to address problems and new ways of engaging. So I'm genuinely humbled to share these ideas in a forum that's committed to seeking out new ways to look at conflict and look at building peace. As Archbishop Desmond Tutu said in his introduction to Rising, in the past, young people were told good children should be seen but not heard. But these days, enabled by technology, young people are connected to networks of friends around the world. And thankfully, they have no qualms about shouting about injustice. This is a seismic change in the ability of people to speak out and have their voices heard. One way of describing it is a global town square. The idea that you can hear from a range of voices, not just people you already know, on everything of the issues of the day to sporting triumphs, the latest music to theology. Now, from the Greek agora to the parish hall, this kind of social interaction, sharing our lives with the wider world in a range of unfiltered voices, has been part of society from long before social media. But the same motivations to learn, to connect, and to express ourselves still drive us. Technology, from the printing press to television, has brought information closer to us at ever-increasing speeds. But those technologies often relied on a small group of people deciding which information should be shared. Social media reverses this role. Now everyone can tell their story in their own voice to the world. And herein lies Twitter's mission, to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information instantly, without barriers. This is also the essence of freedom of expression, the idea that everyone has a voice and the right to use it, along with the right to receive information of all kinds. With 500 million tweets shared every day from every corner of the world in a vast array of languages, the power of Twitter to bring people together across national, social, and cultural barriers is unprecedented. And if you're in a place of conflict, Twitter allows you to choose whatever name will enable you to speak out about your experiences. So whether we're in Tahrir Square or our own communities, people take to Twitter to debate the most contested issues and to share their most personal revelations. And there's also a few One Direction tweets, I'm told. We want Twitter to continue to be a place where the expression of diverse opinions and diverse viewpoints is encouraged and defended. To do that, we have to keep Twitter safe for the widest possible range of information and opinions to be shared, even when we ourselves vehemently disagree with some of them. We also have to be clear about the behaviour we do not tolerate. Now, balancing both sides of this philosophy, welcoming diverse perspectives while protecting our users, brings with it challenges. And while you may not have read about them on the front pages, over the past year, we've made a wide range of changes to both our policies and the way Twitter works to empower our users and strengthen the action we can take where our rules are not respected. For example, we took the decision to allow bystander reporting, meaning any Twitter user can report any content they see, whether or not it's directed to them. This has been delivered along with an overhaul of how we review user reports, not only updating our in-product reporting process, but making significant changes to our tools, processes, and staffing behind the scenes. So we want our users to be clear about what they can and cannot post, and what sort of behaviour is acceptable. To do this requires a policy framework that works across international borders for hundreds of millions of Twitter users worldwide. It also means that when we take decisions, Those decisions are consistent across time zones, languages, and local context. Now, with this in mind, the challenge for companies like Twitter is to avoid subjective concepts in our judgments, but also avoid mediating, where our users have different viewpoints. And everyone's views about what is offensive or upsetting are different. And in one country, what's upsetting or distasteful may be a cultural norm in another part of the world. So Twitter's evolution as a global town square has meant we've faced challenges to ensure that voices cannot be silenced, either by the mob or by the state. It's also brought out into the open views that were long held before people owned mobile phones, showing us a reflection of society that's not always comfortable to look at. Some things did happen after mobile phones. This is the challenge of the global town square. Opinions will not always be universally welcome. And the desire to silence speech on the grounds that some disagree with it will never be universally rejected. Social change rarely comes easily, and in trying to protect people, those who seek to ensure that content is only ever universally welcomed are in fact stifling the very discussion and debate that will allow us to address today's challenges and tensions. The question is, how do you challenge ideas that breed prejudice? How do you speak up as a community to inspire tolerance and compassion? How do you build alternative, positive narratives that give hope? Now, we saw one striking example of this positivity only a few weeks ago. The heartbreaking image of 3-year-old Aylan Kurdi may come to be a defining moment in the world's response to the refugee crisis. It highlighted how sometimes content will be upsetting or distressing, but that same content can galvanize an unprecedented international response, bringing together voices from across the world to challenge society and demand we do more to help those in need. What began as a tragic photograph was transformed into a movement of compassion and hope as people across Europe and the world spoke out to say refugees are welcome. As people took to social media to share their own views, they challenged the prejudice they saw, not with anger or the language of conflict, but by speaking to those most in need and offering a message of compassion. And as a public platform, where tweets are visible to the whole world, the power of our users to moderate behavior and challenge negative viewpoints is extremely powerful. Because we will never reach a position where every piece of content on Twitter is acceptable to every user. That's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that vibrant debate on the most pressing issues that face us, from climate change to the Middle East, from economics to the arts. The question is, how do you respond as a society to celebrate debate and dialogue, knowing we will never always agree, and offer a path away from conflict? Denouncing prejudice is not enough. We must do more together. We must collaborate, with industry, academia, government and civil society all playing a part. Last year, research commissioned by the Northern Ireland Community Research Council looked at the role that social media played in the parade season. The academics, Orna Young and Paul Riley, found that social media provided a safe space, or distance for individuals and groups, to express their views on what may be viewed as emotive issues. This was described as creating opportunities to hear alternative views and positions on these issues that might not have been available in an offline context. Furthermore, they found that social media afforded the opportunity to counteract rumours and misinformation during controversial marches and protests on a large and far-reaching scale, thus countering potential negative repercussions at a community level. We're only beginning to adapt this landscape and the opportunities it offers us. Some have seen this opportunity and already taken action. As Jay Kasplin wrote in the New York Times earlier this year, the internet enabled those moved to action in Ferguson to, and I quote, activate a sense of red alert around a chronic problem that until now has remained mostly invisible outside of the communities that suffer it. In allowing people to connect beyond geographical or social boundaries and giving everyone a voice, we can shine a light on the deepest challenges facing society. Now, sometimes this may be seen as discovering a new social conflict, when in reality, it's existed for those people facing that conflict every day. Early in 2015, we saw with the I'll Ride With You campaign the way prejudice can be tackled with compassion. while earlier this summer, tens of thousands of women loudly declared that they too looked like an engineer. Both of these cases highlight the power of a positive alternative narrative. They also highlight, while it's often assumed that anger is what makes us share content, and in the heat of the moment, sometimes we will allow our anger to consume our response to conflict or distressing events. In reality, positive content is more likely to be shared. This was highlighted in a study in 2012 for the Journal of Marketing Research. It examined the full corpus of New York Times content and determined that positive content is more likely to be highly shared than negative content. This was not what they expected to find, but it confirmed something we see every day at Twitter. Positivity brings people together, and compassion can open the door to dialogue. And this is the opportunity I hope you can take away from today. We must work together to find those credible voices who can challenge not just conflict, but the prejudices and misconceptions that often underpin it. We must bring all our energies to bear to ensure that the loudest voices are ones of tolerance, aspiration, and inclusion. We cannot end conflicts without understanding the grievances that exist in society. And we cannot eradicate prejudice simply by removing content. Twitter offers a public platform to discuss issues of critical importance without requiring physical proximity. As the academics in Northern Ireland recognised, this offers a new approach to resolving conflicts. In allowing users to post without using their real name, we ensure that those who may fear for their safety by speaking out can still have a voice online, from human rights activists in oppressive regimes to those who fare a faith or a sexuality that may not conform with their own country's so-called norms. So yes, while social media may pose challenges, it also offers a huge opportunity to challenge views we find offensive, to push back on social norms that say prejudice is acceptable, and to build emotional resilience that will better equip society to deal with the world around them as it is, not how we wish it were. And what better way to learn about different cultures than to engage firsthand with someone your own age living that culture? How powerful to hear about diversity from a diverse range of voices who tweet just like you. From following your favourite footballer or musician, and alternatives to Justin Bieber are available, to seeing your friends tweeting #NotInMyName, or sharing an infographic about mental health. Social media is an opportunity to learn more about the world around you and hear from different voices to those of your immediate geographical and social surroundings. This is a phenomenal opportunity for those who believe in challenging established social norms, championing change, and offering hope where it may feel all too distant. I'm really lucky to work with charities, NGOs, and community groups to help them use Twitter to build a stronger society, and it's inspiring to see how people can find positivity in the darkest of circumstances. Social media has empowered people across the world to share alternative narratives and positive stories in a way never before seen. The voices that will shape the future are no longer decided for us. We can all speak out and offer a vision of a better world, wherever we are, whoever we are. Let us resolve that good people will not be silent. Thank you very much.